Hi there, this is Wesley. Today we're going to be looking at a pack that I bought on Amazon, $6.80. It comes with 50 cards and there's a chance for foils and mythics. So we're going to open it up here. Zoom in. Alrighty. So I always read the mana cost, card type, creature type if there is one, and then I'll read the text. I'll try my best too. A lot of people take a lot of time with their, not a lot of time with their unopenings. They just flip by, let you see the name. The idea is to appreciate every card. Frantic Scapegoat. 1 red. Creature, goat. When Frantic Scapegoat enters the battlefield, suspect it. It has menace and can't block. Okay. Whenever one or more creatures enter the battlefield under your control, if Frantic Scapegoat is suspected, you may suspect one of the other creatures. If you do, Frantic Scapegoat is no longer suspected. That's really cool. For 1 mana, if a creature enters, you can give it menace. I mean, yes, it can't block, but I mean, and this little guy's got haste too. So turn 1, you can get 1 damage in on somebody. So this is a cool turn 1 card, and you can do different things based off of what creatures enter the battlefield. And I mean, it can be at any time, any place. So I think this is a really cool card. Burden of Proof. 1 colorless and a blue. Enchantment aura. Flash. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 as long as it's a detective you control. Otherwise, it has base power and toughness 1/1 and can't block detectives. Okay, so if somebody steals your creature. Actually, this is really cool. I might put this in my Muldrotha deck because I have Noggle the Mind in there, and I also have. Well, the thing is, it has to be a detective to get that +2/+2 buff. So I guess Detective Typal is what you'd want this in. Neat card if you're running detectives. I don't have a deck that runs detectives though. Case of the Trampled Garden. 2 colorless and a green. When this case enters the battlefield, distribute 2 +1/+1 counters among 1 or 2 target creatures you control. To solve, creatures you control have total power 8 or greater. That's pretty easy with green. Solved. Whenever you attack, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature. It gains trample until end of turn. This would be great in Wolfgar. Wolfgar has 4 power already as it is, and if you attack 3 opponents, he has melee. Plus the power of whatever creatures you're attacking with. So immediately you could solve it, and you could get 2 +1/+1 counters and then give another +1/+1 counter. So that's 3 +1/+1 counters and a creature with trample. So this would be great in Wolfgar. Case of the Gateway Express. Colorless and a white. When this case enters the battlefield, choose target creature you don't control. Each creature you control deals 1 damage to that creature. Okay. To solve, 3 or more creatures attack this turn. Solved. Creatures you control get +1/+0. Enchantment case. Good if you have a lot of creatures. Good if you have a lot of little guys. I was thinking about making a token deck with Rice the Redeemed. We might see if this will go in there. Allies at Last. 2 colorless and a green. And this is from the Avatar set. Instant. Affinity for allies. Costs 1 less for each ally you control. Up to 2 target creatures you control each deal damage equal to their power to target creature and opponent controls. Wow. So instead of them fighting, which risks your creature dying, 2 creatures can do damage, and it costs 1 less for each ally. So I mean, if you're running allies, you could do this for 1 mana. So nice. It's one of those dual cards. Push. 1 colorless, a white or black, or pull. 4 colorless, a black, red, black, red. Black or red, black or red. Push says destroy target tap creature for 2 mana. That's not bad. Pull says put up to 2 target creature cards from a single graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. They gain haste until end of turn. Sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step. There's a lot of stuff you could do with that. It's cool. And it gives you options, although you have to play Mardu in order to actually play the card. So, Buried in the Garden. 2 colorless, a green, and a white. Enchantment Aura. Enchant land. When Buried in the Garden enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent you don't control until Buried in the Garden leaves the battlefield. Whenever enchanted land is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional 1 mana of any color. For its mana value and the fact that it does 2 things, that's pretty cool. I have the showcase version from the Outlaws of Thunder Junction, but I actually prefer this art, so I'll probably replace the one that I have with this. Persuasive Interrogators. 4 colorless, black. Creature, Gorgon Detective. When Persuasive Interrogators enters the battlefield, investigate, so you create a clue token. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, target opponent gets 2 poison counters. Wow. That's crazy. All you need to do is sacrifice 5 clues, and it's a 5/6. Man. I need to put this somewhere. Because all you need to do is sacrifice 5 clues, so that's 10 mana plus the 6 mana, so I guess that's 16 mana total. But if you have something that reduces the mana that you need to activate abilities, or if you cheat this out, yeah, this is really cool. Okay. Convenient Target. 1 red. Enchantment Aura. Enchant creature. When convenient target enters the battlefield, suspect enchanted creature. So it has menace and can't block. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1. 2 colorless and a red : return convenient target from your graveyard to your hand. Wow. Okay. You can continue to pull this back. Give a creature menace and +1/+1. That's actually pretty cool. And the fact that you can pull it from your graveyard is even better, especially in red. That's a nice card. Agency Outfitter. 4 colorless and 2 blue. I think I've seen this. Creature, Sphinx Detective. When Agency Outfitter enters the battlefield, you may search your graveyard, hand, and/or library for a card named Magnifying Glass and/or a card named Thinking Cap. Put them onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle. I don't know what Magnifying Glass and Thinking Cap do off the top of my head, but you can search for 2. There must be artifacts. 2 artifacts. And put them onto the battlefield, and you get a 4/3 flyer out of it. So for that mana value, whatever those artifacts are, I mean, you're saving mana if you pull them out with this guy. Colosseum Behemoth. 5 colorless and 2 green. Creature Beast. Trample. When this creature enters, choose one. Destroy target artifact or enchantment, or draw a card. This will go perfect in my white-green Abdel deck, because you get options, and it's an enter the battlefield effect, and plus it's just a beefy creature. So, that's cool. Leech-Ridden Swamp. Land. Swamp. Okay. Tap. Add a black. Leech-Ridden Swamp enters tapped. Black. Tap. Each opponent loses 1 life. Activate only if you control 2 or more black permanents. Okay. So, I mean, you can do paper cuts every turn, but it costs 1 black mana, so it's not bad. Steel Swarm Operator. A colorless and a blue. Artifact creature, Robot Soldier. Flying. Tap. Add blue. Spend this mana only to cast an artifact spell. Tap. Add 2 blue. Add this mana only to activate abilities of artifact sources. Nice. And he's only 2 mana for a 1/1 flyer, so you can, if you're playing an artifact deck, particularly with activated abilities, this guy's perfect. Paramecia Colonex. Colorless and a black. Creature. Zombie Worm. You don't normally see those creature types put together, but it is Ninja Turtles, so. When this creature enters, mill 3 cards. When this creature dies, you may exile it. When you do, put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. Okay. I mean, yeah, you have to exile it to get it out of there, like to get your card from your graveyard on top of your library, but I mean, for 2 mana, you got a 2/2. You get an enter and death trigger, and it's a zombie. So I mean, even if you're just running a zombie creature type and you just want to put creatures in your graveyard, you can do that. Appa. Loyal Sky Bison. 4 colorless, white. Legendary creature, Bison ally. Flying. Whenever Appa enters or attacks, choose one. Target creature you control gains flying until end of turn. Airbend another target non-land permanent you control. Wow, okay, so you can pay... Airbender says exile it. While it's exiled, its owner may cast it for 2 rather than its mana cost. So if you have enter the battlefield effects and you're also attacking, you can blink those enter the battlefield effects onto your board. I wonder what could be done in Isshin with this, because you can double the attack trigger. 6 mana for a 4/4 isn't normally worth it, and plus he doesn't have haste, so you might want to pair this with red just to be able to get its mana value out fast. Particularly if you're running a blink deck and you're trying to like put things on and off the board. If you're doing that again and again and like you need to save your board and blink Appa off the battlefield, then next thing you know, oh, it doesn't have haste, and then you need to wait a full cycle to get it to attack. So if you pair it with red, you can give it haste. Or colorless. There's artifacts. There's artifacts out there. Ruinous Waterbending. A colorless and black. Sorcery. Lesson. As an additional cost to cast a spell, you may waterbend 4. While paying a waterbend cost, you may tap your artifacts and/or creatures to help. Each one pays for 1. All creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. If the spell's additional cost was paid, whenever a creature dies this turn, you gain 1 life. Nice. So if somebody's running a bunch of tokens, or if you're running a bunch of tokens, you can tap them out to pay this spell. Yeah. You can tap them out to pay this spell and then wipe the whole board, particularly if you have a whole bunch of 1/1s that help pay for the additional cost, and you gain life equal to the number of ones that died, especially because it's in black. I mean, it's always nice to get life gain, and you get all those death triggers. Reptilian Recruiter. 3 colorless, red. Creature, Lizard Warrior. Trample. When Reptilian Recruiter enters, choose target creature. If that creature's power is 2 or less, or if you control another lizard, gain control of that creature until end of turn. Untap it and it gains haste until end of turn. Wow. For 5 mana, a 4/2 trample, and you get to gain control of a creature. Yes, there's a condition that you can meet if its power is 2 or less, but if you're playing lizards anyway, I think that's pretty cool. There were some lizards in the Aetherdrift set. I wonder if those would pair well with this. Furative Courier. 2 colorless and a blue. Creature, Merfolk Advisor. Furative Courier can't be blocked as long as you've sacrificed an artifact this turn. Okay. When Furative Courier attacks, draw a card, then discard a card. Nice. And it's a 3/2. I wonder, maybe there's some of those Simic decks that whenever a land you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature, or I think there's an artifact out there that lets you create a clue whenever a land enters the battlefield. I don't know if that'd be a good pairing. I don't really run cards like this, but I'm curious to see where you guys would put it. Marauding Mutagen. 3 colorless, green. It is the alternative name. The actual name is Acidic Slime. Creature, Ooze, Death Touch. When this creature enters, destroy target artifact, enchantment, or land. Okay. Neat. I do have this one. This is also in my green Abdel deck. I like the alternative art just because it's funky and it's a little bit more playful, so that might replace the Acidic Slime that's actually in the deck. We'll see. Neighborhood Guardian. A colorless and a white. Creature, Unicorn. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Abdel. Enter the battlefield effects. Guidelight Pathmaker. I do have this card. 4 colorless, white-blue, artifact vehicle, Vigilance. When this creature enters, you may search your library for an artifact and reveal it. Put it onto the battlefield. Its mana value is 2 or less. Otherwise, put it into your hand, then shuffle. This card is super cool. I've been meaning to make a white-blue artifact deck for a while now. And it's also a 6/5 with Vigilance that, I mean, yes, you have to crew 2 every turn, but if you find an artifact card that has power, you can put it in your hand. I like this card. I think it has a lot of potential. I've just never used it yet. Trigon Prime. Ooh, we got a Warhammer 40k card. These are not all that common. So, 2 colorless, a green, and a blue. Creature, Tyrannid. Whenever Trigon Prime attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it and a +1/+1 counter on up to one other target attacking creature. That creature can't be blocked this turn. Wow. I know exactly where this is going. This is going in my 5 Boots Felix deck because it loves +1/+1 counters, it loves combat damage, and it loves not being able to be blocked. So, and a 4/4 for 4 mana that does this. This is really cool. I like this. That's awesome. Lumbering Laundry. 5 colorless. Artifact creature Golem. 2, Until end of turn, you may look at face-down creatures you don't control anytime. Okay. Disguise 5. You may cast this card face down for 3 as a 2/2 creature with Ward 2. Turn it face up anytime for its disguise cost. I didn't really get into the disguise mechanic for Karlov, but I've been recently opening up more and more of the mechanic. I'm curious to see like how I could use them in any of my existing decks, but I doubt that I can really pull it off. I don't play Morph, and I don't play any Manifest, except for like a couple cards here and there. It's never really a full strategy of one of my decks, but I mean, if I'm causing my opponents to manifest and I'm able to look at all of them with this is pretty advantageous, and especially because he's colorless, he can go in any deck that's doing that. Ray Fillet Man Ray. 3 colorless and a blue legendary creature, fish mutant, flying. When Ray Fillet enters, create a mutagen token. It's an artifact with 1 tap. Sacrifice this token, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, activate only as a sorcery. 2, remove a +1/+1 counter from a creature you control, draw a card. Okay, so you can pay 2 to remove a +1/+1 to draw a card. I don't know where I'd really use this. I mean, it's neat. I don't think I really have a deck that could use this. Everything Pizza, 2 colorless, artifact food. When this creature enters, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle. And for 2 mana early game, if you need to mana fix, that's awesome. 2 colorless and Wooburg. Tap, sacrifice this artifacts. Each target player gains 3 life and draws a card. Each of your opponents discards a card. This artifact deals 3 damage to any target. Put 3 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target creature. That does a lot. I don't know if it's worth Wooburg and 2 mana, so 7 mana, to really do that, but I mean, the fact that you get to search for a land and you can have something late game and you're playing in all colors, I mean, I suppose it's not all that bad. Airtight Alibi, 2 colorless and a green. Enchantment Aura, flash, enchant creature. When an Airtight Alibi enters the battlefield, untap enchanted creature. It gains hexproof until end of turn. If it's suspected, it's no longer suspected. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and can't become suspected. I forget what suspected does. Again, I don't know much about the Karlov Manor set. I'll have to investigate that mechanic, but it's an enchantment with flash, and it gains hexproof. So that's nice. Shady Informant, 3 colorless, black-red. Creature Ogre Rogue. When Shady Informant dies, it deals 2 damage to any target. Disguise 2 and black or red. You may cast this card face down for 3 as a 2/2 creature with Ward 2. Turn it face up anytime for its disguise cost, and it's a 4/2. This would be nice in my Zagreus Thief of Heartbeats deck because it deals 2 damage to any target. So either they keep the 4/2 body on the battlefield, or they let it hit, or they block with the creature and the creature dies. This becomes more and more advantageous with Death Touch. Innocent Bystander, colorless and a red. Creature, Goblin Citizen. Whenever Innocent Bystander is dealt 3 or more damage, investigate. He's got to be dealt 3 or more damage. Okay, so if you're putting +1/+1 counters on him, I suppose, he needs other things to get him to work. That kind of forces you to play cards that increase his toughness, but Dramatic Accusation, 2 colorless and a blue. Enchant creature. When Dramatic Accusation enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. Blue, shuffle enchanted creature into its owner's library. Oh, that's funny. So for 5 mana, you can just shuffle a creature into their library, and I mean, if you can't afford the 2 as it is, you can make it to where it taps and it doesn't untap. So I think this is a pretty cool card. Topiary Panther. Topiary. 4 colorless and a 2 green. Creature, plant, cat, trample, and basic land cycling. So you can pay a colorless and a green to discard it, and then search for a basic. Nothing too crazy. It's a card. Out Cold. 3 colorless and a blue instant. This spell can't be countered. Anything that can't be countered is always Always good. Tap up to 2 target creatures and put a stun counter on each of them. Investigate. So you create a clue token, and you can tap 2 creatures, and they don't untap during their next untap step. All for 4 mana. That's pretty awesome. Undercover Crocodile. Crocodile. Huh. 4 colorless, green, blue. Creature, elf, crocodile, detective. You do not normally see those creature types together. Whenever Undercover Crocodile deals combat damage to a player, investigate. And you can disguise it. And it's a 5/5. So I suppose this could work in Felix. I mean, there's better cards that just let me draw. If you're playing Token Sacrifice, this is better. I don't really have a place for it. Seasoned Consultant, colorless and a white. Creature, human detective. Whenever you attack with 3 or more creatures, Seasoned Consultant gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So you put it in Ishin, and then it can get +4/+0 until end of turn, and now you have a 5/3 for 2 mana. And she can include she can include herself as one of the attacking creatures. So all you need is 2 other attacking creatures. And with Ishin, that can be very, very easy. So, neat card. Spider-Man, Brooklyn Visionary. 4 colorless and a green, legendary creature, spider human hero. Web slinging. 2 colorless and a green, you may cast a spell for 2 colorless and a green if you also return a tap creature you control to his owner's hand. Okay. Neat. When Spider-Man enters, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. This is going straight into Abdel. Search for those lands. Put them right on. Lurking Lizards. A colorless and a green. Creature. Lizard villain. Whenever you cast a spell with mana value 4 or greater, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. It's a 1/3, so nothing too impressive, but it does have trample already, so it's got potential. Professional Wrestler. 3 colorless and a green. When this creature enters, create a treasure token. This creature can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. Wow. Okay. So, I mean, if I put him in Abdel and I infinitely blink him on and off the battlefield, they can create infinite treasure tokens and have a 4/4. In the Presence of Ages, I do have this card. 2 colorless and a green. Instant, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a creature card and or a land card from among them into your hand. Put the rest into your graveyard. Great way to filter what's going into your graveyard. Comet Crawler. 2 colorless and a black. Creature, Insect Horror. Whenever this creature attacks, you may sacrifice another creature or artifact. If you do, this creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So in Ishin, you'd have to sacrifice 2 creatures or artifacts to be able to get +4/+0 until end of turn, but it does have lifelink in black. Especially if you're putting +1/+1 counters on it, or if you want to be able to sacrifice a creature to get it off your board, this can prove to be pretty advantageous, and yeah, neat card, and it's in foil. Silken Strength, a colorless and a green enchantment aura. This is from Aether Drift. Flash, enchant creature or vehicle. When this aura enters, untap enchanted permanent. Enchanted permanent gets +1/+2 and has reach. Okay, so somebody's swinging at you with the flyer, and you have your most valuable game piece, or you're playing a Tron deck and you haven't hit Vigilance yet. This can prove to be lethal to somebody's creature. You know, they think, oh, his creature's tapped, I'm going to swing. Nope. You can untap your guy with reach, and you can obliterate whatever's attacking you. And the fact that the +1/+2 has reach as long as it's enchanted. Yeah, neat. Nervous Gardener, colorless and a green. Creature, Dryad, disguise. You may cast it. You can cast it face down for 3 as a 2/2, and with ward 2, turn it face up anytime for its disguise cost. Okay. When Nervous Gardener is turned face up, search your library for a land card with a basic land type, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Not that impressive. Cold Case Tracker. 3 colorless and a blue. Creature, Spirit Detective. When Cold Case Cracker dies, investigate. It'd be more valuable as an enter the battlefield effect, and it's 4 mana for a 3/3, but it is a flyer. I don't see that much potential in this card, but it is. Desert Stew, I do have this card. Colorless and a black instant. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. It gets an additional -1/-1 until end of turn for each desert you control. If you're playing deserts, great way to get rid of something for 2 mana. Tattered Haunter, a colorless and a blue, flying. Tattered Haunter can block only creatures with flying. 2/1. Not super special. Thermo Alchemist. Getting off center here. Thermo Alchemist, a colorless and a red. Creature, human shaman. Defender. Thermo Alchemist deals 1 damage to each opponent. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, untap Thermo Alchemist. If I were playing a lot of instants and sorceries in the... Actually, it's to each opponent. Well, if you're playing a lot of instants and sorceries, this guy's cool. And he's only 2 mana for a 0/3, so I mean, he could block. He can take something. Merciless Enforcers, a colorless and a black. Creature, human mercenary villain. Lifelink, 3 colorless and a black. This creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. That's quite expensive. Quite expensive ability. Loan Shark, I do have this card. 3 colorless and a blue. Creature Shark Rogue. When Loan Shark enters the battlefield, if you've cast 2 or more spells this turn, draw a card and you can plot him. So you can pay him at a later turn without paying his mana cost, only as a sorcery. So, plot. I don't know if that means that you can play it on somebody else's turn, but it says plot only as a sorcery, so I don't know if you can pay the plot cost and then play it on somebody else's turn without paying its mana cost, or if you can't do that because you plot only as a sorcery. So I'd have to read into that. Vengeful Townsfolk, 2 colorless and a white. I do have this card. Creature, human citizen. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control die, put a +1/+1 counter on Vengeful Townsfolk. The only thing is, it says 1 or more. It's always better to have something that says whenever a creature dies. I believe it's a human. There's a human card that does that. Whenever a creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter. So this one doesn't really compete against that one, but I mean, nonetheless, if you're sacking creatures, or if you're expecting a whole bunch of creatures to die, this is nice to have. Trick Shot, 4 colorless and a red. I do have this card. Instant from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Trick Shot deals 6 damage to target creature and 2 damage up to 1 other target creature token. So you can get rid of 2 targets for 5 mana. It's not that bad. I mean, 5 mana is pretty expensive for something like this, but I mean, you can get 8 damage out. Another Trick Shot. Tumbleweed Rising, a colorless and a green. Sorcery, create an XX green elemental creature token where X is the greatest power among creatures you control, and you can plot it. So you can exile it and then play it later on. That is everything from the 50 card Amazon package. It was only $6.80, so you could open a play booster or you could get one of these. I typically go for larger sections of bulk because cards get overlooked. Appreciated. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time.